Hey and welcome to Not Only Hollywood. Today I'm going to review Super Deluxe from 2019. This is an Indian crime drama. We follow a group of people who all have enormous problems. An unfaithful wife is in big trouble after a man died while having sex with her. Her husband comes home and now they must try to figure out what to do with the dead body. Another family is in shock when the father is going to meet his son, and it turns out that the father isn't a man anymore. A teenager discovers that his mother was a former porn actress and he can't handle it, and he also gets his friends in trouble when he destroys a television. When you are watching Super Deluxe, it feels like you are watching one of the poorest copies of Pulp Fiction and Magnolia ever made, if it tries to copy those two movies. The runtime is 3 hours and it's 3 hours you will never get back. The movie has so many problems that it's best to turn it off after 40 minutes because it won't get any better. The reason I wanted to watch the movie was that it has two of my favorite Indian actors in the same movie. I'm talking about Vijay Sethupathi and Fahad Faasil. The only actor who gets enough to work with from the script is Vijay Sethupathi. He's great and it was interesting watching him taking a role like this. That was brave of him. It's just too bad that the script is too weak and uninteresting. The characters aren't charming or interesting except for the transgender character. The stories they are in could have worked if the runtime was much shorter. The story with the cheating wife and her husband could remind me of a story in a Coen Brothers movie. But after they leave the apartment, the story goes downhill and crashes into a wall. Then we have the father who has turned into a woman. The story is interesting since I know nothing about how transgenders are treated in India. But after a visit to the police station, the story is ruined. The corrupt cop is a boring and irritating character. Unfortunately, he's in two of the stories that are being told. What a boring and useless character he is. He's like an unfunny clown that talks you to death. It feels like Super Deluxe tries to be daring and a little controversial with the transgender character and the mother who was a former porn actress. So it feels like it tries to tell something important in today's society, and that's all fine. But the execution is pretty bad. The movie has so much dialogue and there's not much going on here except for the dialogue. And I can't stress enough that the runtime is 3 effing hours. I'm so sick and tired of watching Indian movies with a runtime of 3 hours. Many of the movies could have been trimmed down to 2 hours, and some of the movies I have watched could have been masterpieces if they had been 1 hour shorter. It's also easier to sell the movies to foreigners if they want to get into that market. It's sad because I have watched a lot of really great Indian movies in the last 2 years. The acting in the movie is all over the place. Super Deluxe has some of the worst emotional breakdown scenes I've ever seen. Besides my problem with the long runtime in Indian movies, I also have a big problem with the bad acting in emotional crying scenes. I'm used to overdramatic emotional scenes in South Korean movies, which are disgusting. But Indian movies are far worse with some bad acting and crying. And Super Deluxe has a lot of these scenes. Why are they talking so much when they are crying and having a breakdown? It sounds like an infant is talking while crying. It's effing embarrassing. It's so irritating and embarrassing to watch and listen to. I don't care if that's the way they act in India because it isn't an excuse. I watch movies from all over the world, and the melodrama in South Korean movies and some of the crying in those movies can be really annoying, and it feels so fake. Some of the Indian movies I have watched lately have something in common with South Korean melodrama, and that's not a quality sign. But Indian movies and the fake crying I have witnessed in some movies take the cake. Super Deluxe is a tiresome movie experience with a lot of talking, and it doesn't feel like the movie is going anywhere except for the transgender character. It's a movie that tries to be daring and controversial, but there's not enough content here to defend a runtime of 3 hours. I didn't feel that I cared about any of the characters except for the transgender character. But this character also talks too much. My mind couldn't take it anymore, and it went into protection mode. This movie was just a waste of time. I wasted 3 hours of my precious time. From 1 to 10, I give Super Deluxe a 2 out of 10. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Sleep well and dream about me.